Hello, all you vulnerable divas and Steve McQueen lookalikes out there. Today, we take a look at a movie that inspired America to embrace a pop remake of a classic country song and inspired Whitney Houston's ego to unstable proportions. So pour yourself a tall glass of orange juice and let's go chase some cars. This is Crushed Celluloid. Talking about 1992's The Bodyguard, the movie you know because of that song you kind of know from that woman that died from her horrible drug addiction.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Michael Francis.
God. I think this is going to be like the complete opposite of 8 Million Ways to Die, because except for like the extra 40 minutes, I actually really enjoyed this movie. It was like a really neutered version of Roadhouse. I thought it was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I think we differ on that quite a bit. I did laugh several times, but no, I really hated this movie. And yeah, there was at least 40 minutes that could have been cut. That entire fucking cabin scene could have been lost. There was just two lines of exposition. That was the only reason that scene needed to exist.
Oh man, it's so insane. It just turns into a Lifetime movie for like half an hour, and you're like, where did this come from?
It does, and it completely changes tone and like color palette, and like it turns into a completely different movie for about 30 minutes when they go to that fucking cabin. I do want to point out one thing about this movie, though. It is a fucking musical now. It is a Broadway musical now.
No way. I mean, I could totally see it. Like, okay, so the most I've ever really heard about this movie was from that show, Remember that, well, this is in the 90s, so I guess it was in that, like, when they did Remember the 90s on VH1, and they talked about it, and it seemed really stupid then, and that's about all I've really ever heard about The Bodyguard, except from the music video and stuff for I Will Always Love You.
Yeah, that's all I knew about it, too. I knew of the movie, but I had only heard songs from the movie.
Yeah, but the writer of this movie is the most insane part, because
it's Lawrence fucking Kasdan.
I know!
This guy, he wrote The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. He wrote fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark. He wrote Episode 7, which is filming now. He wrote and directed Mumford, which I fucking love.
I know, I love Mumford, and that's the craziest thing. I was like, because I was looking at all the others, like, okay, this does not amount to The Bodyguard, like, before even going in. But then I was like, Mumford, well, maybe that'll make it good, because Mumford was very awesome, just very expertly done.
Well, here's the thing, though. Who knows how many drafts this went through, or, like, how many... Because it was originally planned in, like, the late 70s as a vehicle for Steve McQueen and Diana Ross. But apparently it was like too controversial at the time. So it basically it kept going through the ages. I think it was like her and someone else were going to do it at one point, but they had a falling out. They were actually dating and then didn't want to do the movie together. So then I think it got rejected over and over again until finally they got Costner and Whitney Houston.
That's insane that they replaced McQueen with Costner.
Well, that's the thing though. Even Kevin Costner kind of based his character on Steve McQueen, so he even has like a Steve McQueen haircut in it.
I can totally see it, and like all his little weird little quips that don't land at all.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to be completely just stern and just stoic and stone-faced and shit, and then every once in a while he'll just crack a little smile or crack a joke, and it just seems so off-putting compared to how he is.
And that's what I love about this movie is there's so many moments that you're just like, what are these people doing? Like what? Why is everyone reacting this way?
I will say their date scene is the funniest thing in the movie to me.
Oh my god, that was the worst part for me.
Really? I'm sorry, I was laughing so hard at just how awful it was.
Let's just actually walk through it, because I want to...
Okay, before we get into the actual movie itself, I do want to say the director of this film, Mick Jackson, he's also known for such amazing films as Volcano.
Yep.
And the Dana Carvey vehicle, Clean Slate.
I do not remember that one.
Yeah, neither does anyone else. But this film was huge. It made $411 million worldwide.
No, I would believe it, and just because of Whitney Houston. This thing is a music video. Half of it is just a music video.
Yeah, because this was her debut in film, and yeah, seriously, because even you of course know I Will Always Love You, and she had another song that was kind of big from this, but also throughout the entire movie, they're playing all the other established Whitney Houston songs you already know.
Oh, were those established? I was wondering if they were just making videos for every single Whitney Houston song on the soundtrack.
No, seriously, I heard I'm Every Woman playing at some point in time, and that definitely was not from The Bodyguard.
Okay, I just don't know anything about Whitney Houston.
I know very little. I know that she really enjoyed crack.
I do know that. And then she went down like MJ in a bathtub.
Which made me sad, because she was actually very pretty back in the early 90s, and then the crack happened.
Yeah, she went on a downward slope really fast. But let's not get into that because it's sad.
Oh yeah, it is sad. But seriously, for worldwide grosses of 1992, it was the number 2 top grossing film. The only thing that beat it, Aladdin.
See, I would believe this. This is like, so, like, what's been said about Roadhouse is it was kind of the movie of the death of the 80s. I would say The Bodyguard is kind of where the 80s transferred into the 90s. Like I said, it's kind of like, it has moments that are so reminiscent of Roadhouse and just kind of this what the fuck attitude, but also just played a lot more PC. And it also gets into that weird thing where there's these big action contrivances that don't make any sense in the end, like The Last Bodyguard, when you want to have this whole assassination thing happen at a football stadium. I don't exactly remember that. Or maybe The Last Boy Scout, I think I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway.
Last Boy Scout.
Yeah, and so, like, it feels like the beginning of the 90s movie era to me.
No, I totally get that completely, because it even has a different look. If you look at Roadhouse and look at The Bodyguard, the Roadhouse was kind of that 80s kind of gritty-looking kind of film and stuff like that. The 90s, this one was much more polished and everything. The 90s hadn't really come into its own yet, so it's not, like, all bright neon colors and, like, weird kind of shit and sitcom-looking film. But it's starting that.
It is, yeah. You can see the gestation happening in the background.
Yeah, but this movie is still pretty well liked.
Really?
Well, I mean, okay, not by critics. It has like on Rotten Tomatoes, it has like a 32% critics, 14% top critics, but it still has like a 64% audience rating. Yeah, and I think it's still like a 6 point something on IMDb as well.
I could see. I mean, it's a simple film for what it is, and I can see why people would like it. It's like something you turn on the background and kind of ignore. Like, the running time is really what kills it in the end.
It does, and the fact that Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston don't have much of anything in the way of chemistry, and he has no reason to love her. Nor she him, other than, like, he's her protector.
That's the funniest thing, is they're just kind of shoving these stories into this movie, and none of it is earned, none of it makes any sense, and then it's just, like, and it comes at such odd times, you're like, why not do this later, when it would make more sense? But anyway, let's just jump into the opening, which we see Kevin Costner
he shot all the people.
A man. he shot all the people while shoving a man's face in the ground. and it goes from there to him talking to this other guy that I get, like, his boss at the time, and he claims, I'm no good in a permanent position. My feet go to sleep. Like, you're a bodyguard. What?
Your job is mostly standing there.
Yeah, who hires a bodyguard because they're pretty sure they're going to get shot within this time frame?
Yeah, well, Whitney Houston, apparently.
Well, yes.
But something I noticed from the beginning of this movie, it got better as it went along, but in the opening, maybe 10, 15 minutes, I'm not sure if Costner was aware that he was in a movie. He seems kind of sleepy. He seems like he's just kind of in his own little world thinking, and he's like, oh, are we rolling cameras? I wasn't paying attention. What's going on?
Yeah, no, one of my favorite things is when Bill Cobbs is talking to him and trying to convince him to come work for a pop star, which he also does not do. He has this knife throwing scene where he kind of misses on purpose twice. It's supposed to be played as funny, which it's not. And then his third shot, like, he throws it and it barely clips the edge. I was like, I wonder how many takes they had to do before they got that one barely usable take.
I actually thought that scene was really funny. Like, I think Costner trying to be, like, smarmy and funny wasn't very funny, but the scene itself just did actually make me laugh.
No, it made me laugh more so in the fact that he's supposed to be this badass, and his most badass shot is barely on target, and that's what they had to keep. I love that.
Yeah.
And I also, because I saw Bill Cobbs, I was like, I know this guy from everything, and he's worked in fucking everything.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, I know him from one movie specifically from my childhood. What is it? And I kept scrolling down his IMDb, like, what is it? What is it? And it was fucking Air Bud. I forgot he's the coach from Air Bud. I loved Air Bud.
Yeah, I did not remember that he was an Air Bud.
I like, Air Bud came out when we were pretty old, so I was a fan of Air Bud way later than I should have been, to be honest. But I really liked Air Bud. I would assume so,
because Air Bud didn't come out till what, like 97 or something?
Yeah, I was a little old for it. But it was awesome.
They're like, that dog plays basketball. I love it.
I like golden retrievers. My granny had golden retrievers.
Well, that's why I loved like Homeward Bound when I was a kid. I love.
Yeah, I love that one too.
Yeah.
But I also had Air Bud. I had twice as much fun.
Did you ever get into any of the sequels?
Of which ones?
Of Air Bud? Because he played single sport. He played like football and soccer.
I watched the football one, and I kind of liked it because I was in that preteen stage, and they had like this whole romantic thing in it, and then I was like, oh, I could be just like him if I was a quarterback.
And if I had a dog that could play football.
Yeah. It's really what's been holding me back my whole life is a dog that can play random sports.
Get on it, Adama.
Yeah, so after we find out...
Yeah, so back to The Bodyguard.
Yeah. So Costner is playing this role for Chuckles. Like, he has so many little quips and things. It was driving me mad. Like, they're all so bad. Like,
well, that's the thing. Watching this movie, I have to, again, like, this is why I don't like Kevin Costner. People are always weird when I say I really don't like Kevin Costner. But literally, there's only ever been 2 movies I've enjoyed Kevin Costner in. One is a fantastic movie directed by Clint Eastwood called A Perfect World. And the second one was 3,000 Miles to Graceland because it was just fucking ridiculous. And he was like a really bad person in it, and it was actually fun.
I would say he's a really bad person in this movie. Like, okay, so to get back to Roadhouse, because I'm gonna harp on Roadhouse throughout this movie.
We should have just done Roadhouse.
People love Roadhouse though.
Well, I know, but so do I. That's why I want to talk about it for an hour.
maybe one day, once people finally forget, once we're in our 90s, we can be like, who remember Roadhouse? But yeah, so comparing Costner in this to Dalton is very dry, doesn't really joke around, and so he comes off as a badass. Costner, on the other hand, is always going for chuckles, and you never really see him being a badass, like, in the beginning. You see him shoot someone and put someone's face in the ground. That's about it. And you're like, oh, I'm supposed to buy he's a badass and throw knives into a block.
Which he does very poorly.
He does. And also, the other thing that comes out through the movie, Dalton is extremely great at his job. Like, he's very precise in what he does. He knows what to do, when to do it, blah, blah, blah. Costner arguably is a horrible bodyguard. He is making the weirdest choices. He is doing things that are borderline common sense it's like, how much am I supposed to suspend my disbelief to believe that this guy is like the top of his field? Because he's not.
Yeah,
I can't believe he is.
By the way, he kind of says no about this, but they also kind of allude that maybe it was later on. But was he on duty? Like, was he the reason that Reagan got shot? Because he says, like, no, that wasn't my shift, but he said it kind of jokingly, and then later on, they're like, man, no one blamed you for the Reagan thing, just so you know.
Well, what comes out later is, no, we'll actually get to this because I love this scene too. It's during the Lifetime movie. So Bill Cobbs convinces him to do the Whitney Houston thing. He goes there, and the place is security-wise in shambles. They just let anyone through the gate, blah, blah, blah.
Which, oh man, Kevin Costner trying to be funny is so ironically funny.
I know, I loved it when
just like the atomic weight of something is 37. And they're like, all right, come on in.
That's what I was like, what is this gag? Oh, and he's like, I have an appointment with Miss Houston, and the driver's just like, just like, does anyone communicate with each other? But apparently that's part of the plot.
Well, that's how they're establishing that she doesn't have good security.
Yeah,
but come on, they overdid it a lot.
Oh yeah, then she's having a rehearsal in her house. He passes this weird, like, Metropolis metal suit thing that I'm guessing is from one of her videos.
Yeah, I guess, but it was fucking awesome looking. I was just like, oh my god, Metropolis robot.
Yeah. And like, they're doing this weird dance rehearsal, and there's I just love there's this background quip about, oh, Jimmy doesn't like it, and she's like, he doesn't know great art. And I'm just like, what? They're dancing in neon clothes. Like, what does this have to do with great art?
And why the fuck did you ask him then?
Yeah, really weird.
I will say that during this scene, like, after they first meet or whatever, and they take him to her room, my favorite line of the movie is in this scene, because they talk about how, like, someone left a note on the bed, and there's like, somebody masturbated on the bed.
Wait. I don't want to get to the room yet.
Oh, okay, fine. Whatever. Cut that out.
Because I want to talk about the when Kevin Costner asks for orange juice and Whitney Houston smirks at him. Like, it's just like, wait, this is the middle of the afternoon, so you think she's gonna be played for an alcoholic, but once again, she's not.
Even though she is drinking quite constantly. And again, this guy, you're possibly going to hire him as your bodyguard, and you smirk that he's not going to drink alcohol while at his interview?
Yeah, like, what the fuck is this? Like, everyone's motivations are so obscure and so weird. Like, Psy, we'll get to Psy, but Psy is the weirdest character because I have no idea what he's there for, and I don't know what he wants. He is just
Is
all
that
over
the PR
place.
guy?
Yeah, Gary Kemp.
I kind of think that maybe he's supposed to be like a red herring, and you kind of think that maybe he's the one sending the notes or trying to do it, either for publicity or because he's fucking crazy, because he comes off as such a fucking creeper throughout the movie. I kept thinking, like, maybe it's him, but of course, not at all.
I never got that. Yeah, huh. Interesting. And I also love this scene where Kevin Costner gets fed up with Whitney Houston's non-compliance. He's like, if you'll show me the quickest way out. And someone from behind him screams, the pool! And he has this look on his face like, well, I said it facetiously, but now I guess I have to back it up, asshole.
Yeah, now I actually have to leave out of that door.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that guy, I forget his name in the thing, but it's Mike Starr, and I like him quite a bit. The big Tony, I guess, the big bodyguard that she already had.
Yeah, that guy is awesome. And then I don't want to dwell on this too long, we get to Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston's son, and they have this instant repertoire that is awkward at best. Like, Kevin Costner
kind of seems like he's a little weirded out by black kids.
Yeah, well, see, I got that he was just like, you know what, I'm gonna take this job if just for this child that I must save. Like,
but he doesn't seem to really like him. He kind of seems to brush him off and just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, you can talk, good for you.
See, I got more that, once again, the Lifetime vibe, that it's just like, he's gonna be the strong, silent father type, because every child needs a good father model in their life. Like, that's more what I got from it, so I thought...
Well, and they kind of try to build that and build their relationship and stuff, but we don't really get much out of it, and he's kind of a dick to the kid most of the time.
Yeah, he is. Once again, just stern fathers, because that's what children need in the early 90s to grow up awesome, like Kevin Costner.
Well, that's what I had. Nah, I turned out pretty well.
So, proof's in the pudding.
Yeah,
you know?
My Kevin Costner pudding.
Splooged all over Whitney Houston's room, but to get to
God
that,
damn it, you stole it from me.
I love when we first get introduced to, like, it's this vast, like, guest room, and I love that there's a song playing in the background that's very loving, and it's kind of slowly panning down, like it's really trying to show off the room, and then the guys step in the room and just turn the volume off on the TV, and the sound goes away. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, no, that definitely was. And again, like just the whole explaining away line, like, oh no, she actually just sleeps down the hall next to her son. This is just, we did this for, like, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous or something. There's something like that. It was like an early MTV Cribs, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I fucking love that, and yeah, you can take it from there.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So basically, they start saying that someone has been sending Whitney Houston's character these, like, psychopathic letters, some with drawings of them killing her, some that are, like, cut and pasted, like, serial killer notes, and they're explaining that, like, they found one on the bed in her room, so someone got into the complex, and my favorite line of the movie, he's like, yeah, we found it, and somebody masturbated on the bed.
Yeah.
I could not stop laughing at that.
Like, it's not threatening that just someone was in here, but that
they had to masturbate on the bed as well.
That's the real frightening
just dad
part.
Insult to injury.
I love it. And then we move on from here to Kevin Costner setting up security, where he's just like, we're going to put security cameras outside the gate.
Wait, so they are doing that, but also in this time period, they kind of do a scene of showing someone cutting up letters to, like, make those notes. But it's weird because they show this one note and it says these exact words, and then it cuts to some guy wearing gloves, like, cutting out words, and he's making the exact same note. So I was wondering, is he saying the same message twice, or is this a flashback to him making the note?
Oh man, I bet that was just that was some miscommunication.
Probably. That scene was probably supposed to come before then. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, shit, we already filmed it, we can't go back. Yeah, I bet that's what happened. I even noticed that one. But I love when he's setting up all these security, the kid is watching Kevin Costner so lovingly. Like, he was just amazed by the security
he's
minutia.
He's like, going, that's my new dad.
That's my daddy right there. Oh, and then we get to the dancing room, and there's Beethoven, who shows up every once in a while in the movie, and I love him.
Oh yeah,
the big puppy. He's great.
Which is weird because yeah, he shows up what, like maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, not really. Like, just kind of there randomly. Like, he doesn't do anything.
Well, I think that's what it is it's the sister's dog. It's not like his dog or her dog or anything. I think it's the sister's dog.
Yeah, that's true. I also love when the sister's talking. I get giddy talking about this movie. I don't know why you don't feel the same. You don't love life as much as me.
I think it really is that middle section that just completely changes pace. Like, I think I was with it more in the beginning just because it was so ridiculous, but once it got to like their love story and then their breakup story and then that fucking melodrama, I was just kind of like, God, just get shot and end it already.
No, I totally agree that like most of that section could be cut out because the beginning and the end are really where this entire movie is at.
Yeah.
But I like when they're in the dancing room with the girl or the sister, and just in case you didn't catch it from the picture they're looking at and the way she's talking about it, they have to close up on her that she's the girl in the background, not the sister.
Yeah, she was the one playing the guitar, and obviously the one singing is the one that became a famous singer. But yeah, and honestly, I was surprised by the sister's arc in this. I did not expect it.
It's pretty wild.
Even though it was pretty... it was put out there pretty in your face from the beginning, because even talking about her, she does sound very bitter about it. But then again, maybe she wanted to be famous too, but again, she gets to live in a life of luxury, so maybe she's just under the skin bitter.
Well, we'll get to that when we get to the Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
That I love.
But it's established a little bit here, because just the way she's talking about it, she's like,
yeah.
I started a band, she joined, and then she did well, so I quit, and now I've been doing this.
Yeah, living in my sister's house in this amazing life.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Your life is so horrible.
so horrible.
I guess we're at the first action scene.
Sure.
When Kevin Costner chases a car.
That is, yeah, it's so awesome. So, the driver who Kevin Costner has taken on as his odd couple buddy cop duo thing, he's decided that's gonna be
the chauffeur.
The chauffeur of Whitney Houston. After they're leaving a place, there's a car that's obviously following them, and Kevin Costner has the most ridiculous action scene. Because he gets the guys following him, jumps out of the car drives away, and Kevin Costner runs on foot, chasing a car.
Yeah, he runs through the property where Whitney Houston's character lives, and runs through the woods and stuff like that. And again, he is this causes nothing. Like, I could see maybe he's trying to get a license plate or something, but he's running. He runs. He jumps. He sprains his ankle. The car must be driving 30 miles an hour around the property.
How is he keeping up with it?
Like I said, the car must just be creeping, going 25, 30 miles an hour so that he can keep up.
Much slower than that.
It sounds and it makes it look like it's driving away fast, like it's trying to get away.
Yeah. And Kevin Costner just apparently is a cheetah, and we didn't know.
That adds whole new layers to this movie if I just look at him as a secret cheetah the entire time.
And I think the writer from Cat People had a script rewrite. And I love when he jumps at the car, because for a second I was like, oh my god, he's about to land on the car.
That's what I thought, but no, he lands completely behind it and just sprains his ankle and he's good.
Yeah. Oh, I would have loved if he landed on the car. There's this whole action scene with him hanging off the hood as a guy tries to get off.
Yeah, but no, nothing happens. It just ends, and he doesn't even get a license plate, doesn't get anything. He's just kind of oh, I guess I can't chase a car.
I guess I'm not faster than a car. Who would have thought?
Oh my god. Okay, so after this, Kevin Costner comes back and he starts kind of getting mad at Whitney Houston about her going out and doing things because it's dangerous. And she's like, no, I have a routine. I go to Sunday morning brunch with my friends. I want to do that. And he was like, oh, why don't you go to brunch on Tuesdays? And oh my god, I think this is the PR guy. It's just Tuesday morning brunch? Where'd you get this guy? It's the most ridiculous thing he's ever heard.
Who has ever heard of a Tuesday morning brunch? You're just throwing off the rest of the week.
That's some of the comedy in The Bodyguard.
And that's that's what I love about this movie. It has the weirdest idea of comedy, and it totally lands. It's just like, once again, it's just kind of like Roadhouse. It's playing it in a totally different tone than it's being taken.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful for those parts. Then we find out that even though Costner said he doesn't mix work and pleasure, all Whitney Houston really had to do was ask him on a date, and he goes.
Well, before that, though, we get the moment where I think Kevin Costner falls in love with Whitney Houston. When he watches her music video.
Oh my God, that is the creepiest thing.
It is, okay, because for one, he has a little guest house that's like out at the edge of her property or whatever. Like, he is a good ways away. He's out past the pool, and for some reason Whitney Houston is able to hear her own music inside of her house with like the windows and doors closed and stuff. And he's apparently sitting in his little guest house with a TV on, playing one of her music videos, blasting the sound as loud as possible so that she can hear it inside the building. But he's just like sitting there staring at her music video, and she's like running with like a white sheet over her. You can kind of see her boobs a little bit, and you can see in his eyes he's just like, yep, I just fell in love with this lady.
And well, I didn't even get that. I thought like maybe he was doing research, but I didn't understand what research he could possibly be doing. Like, he's hunched over with like his arms crumpled up, like folded into one another, and leaning his chin down.
Oh yeah, no, this is the moment where they fall in love with each other. He falls in love with her singing voice in her music video, and she sees him watching her video, and she's like, oh, I love him because he feeds my ego.
I mean, it fits because this is entirely a vanity project for Whitney Houston, but I did not get that. I totally
That's the moment, because
that.
right after that is when they go on their little run together, and she asks him out on a date.
That's true.
That's what turned the tides. They didn't like each other until he watched her music video and liked it, and she saw him watching her music video and liked that he was watching her music video.
Yeah, I totally missed that. I thought he was just being extremely creepy. Like, that's all I got from him.
Honestly, I think the only thing that would have made it better for the scene, just from a funny perspective, is if it cut to a close-up as he was watching the video and like one single tear ran down his face because the music affected him that much.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lawrence Kasdan, you gotta call me if you want these little nuggets of gold for your movies.
Yeah, come on. You could do a punch up on Star Wars, I'm sure.
I'm sure I could.
I love this next part in the club, mostly because Cy, the Gary Kemp, the PR guy, like, she's doing this club shoot, but they're like, this is a big safety hazard. Like, this is who knows who's here. This is a big security flaw, and it's like a surprise video shoot, which is a strange thing in and of itself. And then,
no, I don't think it was a video shoot. I think she was performing and showing her new music video.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, Cole, pay attention.
And then, like, so they finally let her go up on stage, even though this is where they revealed to her that someone has masturbated on her bed. She's like, oh,
well, I guess I gotta go get up on stage. Okay,
Yeah.
So let me say something about this scene. Okay, so of course it goes bad, but they establish that she's like the biggest star in the world. She's a movie star, she's a singer, she has her own doll, for fuck's sake, which we never mentioned, but everything bad happens because her doll blows up early in the film. But okay, so she's at this show, but you know what? When you're big, like Madonna or something like that, you don't play intimate shows for like 100 people where they can get on stage with you and touch you. That's what barriers are for. That's what stadiums are for. You don't play a little club where you're in like with 20, 30 people right around you that can touch you. Literally, like, pull. You have hangy things on your dress and they can pull you down and just pull your fucking clothes off.
Yeah. Well, that's the strangest thing, is that Cy, the PR guy, he's saying things like, if she's not out there, she doesn't get her face out there, she's dead anyway. And it's like, but she's about to be Oscar nominated, like, and
no, she's
a top
okay.
star. Yeah, she can disappear. Have you seen the mansion that she lives in? I know you have, because you've been there many times.
Well, that's the thing.
Like,
they keep teeter-tottering between her being like the biggest star in the world and her being like this up-and-comer with something to prove.
Yeah, well, I think
because they kind of make it that she is already established, but they kind of like the whole Oscar thing. They make it like she's trying to prove something with that club scene that's ridiculous, and they're just so we can get the poster image.
I guess, yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's ridiculous, but yeah, that's where we get the poster image, the iconic image of Kevin Costner carrying poor little old Whitney Houston.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. But yeah, like, the club thing must have just been added in later, and they're like, well, we have to make it seem threatening somehow. We realize we just have like an hour of love story that doesn't really make much sense. weird.
Yeah, so they establish more. I think this kind of cements their love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their supposed love. Because basically what happens is that the show starts going bad, people get up on stage and dance with her, and then I think they like make her crowd surf, which is so funny to see Whitney Houston crowd surfing.
No, and she looks like she is absolutely horrified by it. She's like, oh no.
People
like,
are touching me.
Oh my god, the plebeians. It's...
That is totally her response. I didn't think about it at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kevin Costner starts kicking everybody, and he tries to help her up, and then he's like, fuck it, I'll just carry you. So he picks her up and carries her, and there's this moment where they look at each other, and she just kind of like falls in his arms like, oh, my big strong man, and he's just like, yeah, whatever, bitch. And then he starts walking through the club. Whenever anyone gets in front of him, he just like fucking kicks them 10 feet back as he's holding her in his arms.
And then he takes her home, and she's like, don't you want to know why I behave that way? He says, I know. So, which sets a precedence that he knows why everyone acts any way they do. Which, it's not that hard to glean, I guess. They telegraph their emotions.
Oh, yeah.
And
their
honestly, characters.
I would kind of see her getting offended by him saying that, because that comes off as just like, yeah, because you're a stuck-up bitch. I know.
Yeah, you would think.
I know why you act that way, because you're a fucking idiot.
Because you have a huge ego that has to be fed constantly. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Which is why you love me now, because I watched your music video.
Oh, and then the best fight scene ever happens after this with Mike Starr and Kevin Costner. It's inexplicable, except that Mike Starr, I guess, is established that he kind of loves Whitney Houston, but of course she doesn't pay any attention to him because he's fat.
Well, yeah, but he also, he cares about her, and he was her original bodyguard before he got hired on. But also the main reason this fight happens is because when the club thing happens, Mike Starr is just like, he clears a path, and he's like, come on, this way, the car's out here. And they don't go that way. Kevin Costner had a secret route that he like took her through, and the limo was out there by his secret route. And Mike Starr gets left out there with no car, and it starts raining, and he's just like, oh bother.
Oh bother.
So he comes home all soaking wet and mad.
Yeah, and then he tries to punch Kevin Costner, and is the slowest, most telegraph punch ever, and he acts like he's surprised when Costner ends up hitting him back first. He falls to the ground. Then Mike Starr gets up and decides to try it again, and Kevin Costner just like slides him across the bar like a bad action movie. It's awesome.
It's like something out of Roadhouse.
It is like something out of Roadhouse. Oh my god, it's so amazing.
Okay, but this is the thing, and then after that he gets back up, and then he grabs a knife, like a big knife, and he's like, dude, he just dropped you twice. Maybe just stop.
Yeah, and he doesn't like go after him secretly, which I thought he was gonna do, because they focus on Kevin Costner turning his back to Mike Starr for at least a good 7 seconds, and you're like, oh, I guess Mike Starr's about to try and hit him again, but he's gonna get the best of him once more. But no, they just focused on Kevin Costner for 7 seconds for no reason.
Well, because you got to show the fact that he was eating a peach the whole time he was doing this.
that really is the point. And then Mike Starr, like, I love when he's just holding the knife. He's like, it's just like, are you really, like, you don't, like, you just tried to sucker punch this guy twice. Why are you actually trying to fight him now?
Oh yeah, like, obviously that's not going to help, but he seems very unsure. But again, the whole time since he walked into the kitchen, Kevin Costner has just been eating a peach with a little knife, which I've never seen someone eat a peach with a knife like that before. It's like he was eating an apple.
Yeah, exactly.
But
he's
he
taking
did that.
Slices of it.
So after taking the knife, he basically does his knife throw, which all of a sudden he can do it pretty well.
Yeah.
And he throws a little knife, and it hits right by Mike Starr's head, and so he's like, and he puts the knife down. And Kevin Costner's into this fight scene is just like, I don't want to talk about this again.
It was so awesome.
Insane.
Just like Roadhouse. That is a Dalton moment.
I will say that Kevin Costner was very badass in that scene, even though the whole, like, why do you have to eat a peach while doing this? Just to show how much more badass he is, that he was still just, like, eating a fruit while doing this.
Yeah, but very Dalton-esque. The whole thing. It was, I loved it. And then we get to where Whitney Houston actually asked him on a date, and I love that you can see a stray fog machine just kind of blowing fog out in the woods.
Oh yeah, and there's pretty piano falling in love music happening.
Yeah. Awesome. And then we get to the date, which you like a lot more than I do, but I love that it just cuts to Yojimbo. I think it's Yojimbo.
That's what I loved about it, because I started laughing, and then I got really invested in Yojimbo for those few seconds.
I know. I was like, oh man, because I wish I was watching Yojimbo.
Yeah, well, I watched it like 2 weeks ago, so it's still like really fresh in my brain.
Yeah,
so that cut, and I was just like, oh, I remember that scene. And I was just like, I was watching it, and then it cut away, and I was like, fuck, it was about to get good.
And the first thing I thought of is a scene from Mystery Science Theater where they give a rule: you never show a better movie inside your crappy movie. And that's the first thing I thought of.
Because as soon as you see it, you're immediately more invested, and you wish you were watching that movie instead.
Yeah, like man, that movie is a lot better than this one.
But also, can we just say Yojimbo? I mean, brilliant Costner. If that's a date movie, if there ever was one.
That's what I thought. Like, let me take her to an obscure a Japanese film.
Well, I think the reason that happened is it's kind of like a little inside joke, because I think Yojimbo, when it was released in America or in a certain country, it was released under the title The Bodyguard, because he sells his services as a bodyguard. And I'm not sure if that is even what it translates to, but I think that's how it was released in English.
That makes a lot more sense, because I was wondering why, like, what is this saying about Costner that his favorite movie is a movie about a guy that sells himself to both sides and pits themselves against each other until they both die. I was like, is that where this movie is going?
He has seen this movie 62 times.
62 times. I mean, that was a joke. That's what passes for a joke in this movie.
I don't think that was a joke. I think he's literally counted, and he knows offhand how many times he's seen Yojimbo, and the number is 62 times.
There's a scene of Costner at night tattooing himself with just a needle and ink, just putting another notch on his arm. Like, that was another Yojimbo in the bag.
He just has a Yojimbo board. Every time he sees it, he throws a knife at it and puts another notch on it.
Because he can be an excellent knife thrower when he wants to be.
Yeah. Okay, so now we cut to them afterwards at a bar, and this is what I love about their date scene. Yojimbo just kind of caught my attention, but I love the bar scene between them. At least when they're actually talking together. But there was one line that actually made me laugh when Whitney Houston's kind of being like, "So why do you do this? Why are you a bodyguard?" And he's just like, "'Cause I can't sing."
Oh, Costner. My favorite. I mean, this is where she hears the original country version. I can't remember who does the original. I just know the Graham Parsons version really well. But the original version of "I Will Always Love You," and I love that after this, Kevin Costner immediately takes her to his basement. Like, we don't see them enter the house.
I want to talk more about the bar scene though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because there is just some awful dialogue in here. But for one, we find out that Whitney Houston is a real jerk. Because Kevin Costner is kind of given his backstory about, like, I loved someone a long time ago or whatever, but, that was a long time ago. And she's immediately just like, she's not dead, is she? And he just kind of looks grimacingly at her, and he's like, what? Oh, so she was someone you had to protect, and you didn't protect her, and she's dead now? And she's kind of laughing, and then he's like, yeah. And she's just like, oh, well, that's awkward. So is this a full service date? But yeah, and then just them dancing is ridiculous. And there's such like a meta moment in this, because "I Will Always Love You," the country version, is playing in the background, and Whitney Houston kind of starts to laugh at it. And then he's like, what's wrong? He's like, did you ever listen to the lyrics? The song's kind of depressing. Yeah. And yet it becomes like her biggest hit of all time, and it's seen as this great love song. And she's like, it's kind of fucking depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of a sad song.
So now let's cut to his creepy basement.
He takes her immediately to this creepy basement where there's like a workout machine, a bunch of books on a shelf, and a samurai sword. And that's where they have sex, I guess. I think there may also be a couch. I guess that's where
there's a couch and a little coffee table. No TV though, just books and a samurai sword. Yeah. And this is where he likes to sit and think.
And yes, because it's such a good thinking place. I don't know. And the most unearned sex scene ever, followed by the weirdest announcement of the sex scene the next morning.
It's a weird build-up to the sex scene, though, because basically what happens is Whitney Houston sees the samurai sword, and obviously they just saw Yojimbo. She's like, oh, I get your psyche now. And she's just like, can I touch it? And he's like, yeah, you can touch it. So she takes the samurai sword off the wall and like takes the blade out, and she starts like kind of swinging it around a little bit, and you can see Kevin Costner like he's constantly following the blade, like assessing the situation and the danger, so like he's still on guard. But then she comes up to him like she's gonna stab him or something, but it builds up like this dire music, like she might actually stab him for no reason. And then he comes and like puts the blade in his chest, and he's just like, and I think he takes her scarf and like throws it up, and then it comes down and just the blade slices it completely. That heavy scarf that fell on it.
Yeah, without, yes. It's an extremely sharp blade.
Yeah, but I kind of expect her to be like, that was my favorite scarf, you dick.
Yeah, like, do you know how much that cost? More than your salary per week.
Yeah, but then, like, it cuts, and then you see, like, her bra laying over the samurai sword, and I was like, why didn't it cut the bra? If it's laying
that
on
would
the
have
samurai.
been...
I thought that was razor sharp. But I was like, oh, whatever, it's sex.
But we cut from this to the next morning where all of a sudden Kevin Costner, even though he wasn't drunk or anything, is like, I should have done that. It was the worst idea. Like, what?
Well, yeah, he had one beer, it seemed like, and then when they came home, he was drinking orange juice.
Yeah, so he had a beer, maybe. And that's another thing, an argument for why Kevin Costner is the worst bodyguard ever. He's just like, we made a mistake. Like, why? Why'd you make the mistake? Like, I don't get it. But
yeah, it's drama. That's what you get when you fuck Kevin Costner, I guess.
So it cuts from their awkward leaving sex scene to Whitney Houston's Oscar announcement party, where she has fireworks spell her name, which is Rachel, which I didn't know up to this point.
Oh yeah,
so
her
I was
name's
just
like
calling her
Rachel
Whitney Houston.
Marin, but yeah, she's fucking Whitney Houston. But yeah, it's this really weird like Entertainment Tonight sequence, and it even like played the music and stuff, and I was like, really? Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I don't have much to say about this party scene except like we meet Kevin Costner's creepy partner that like he used to be in the Secret Service
like
with him.
old friend.
Yeah, his old friend from the Secret Service that also just does bodyguard for hire now. And there is
amongst other things.
And there is the most casual attempted rape scene ever. Like, it is by far the creepiest thing in this movie.
It really is, because he's just kind of like, I'm going to rape you. And then she's like, no. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, well, he pushes a couple times. He
pushes like twice, and then he's just like, no, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna rape you. And then she's like, no. And then he's like, okay. And then,
well, no, she gets up and opens the door.
Well, yeah,
and
but he's more kind of like okay about it. But then as soon as she opens the door, he comes back. He tries one more time. And he's like, now we're gonna do this, right? And she's like, no. And he's like, okay.
Well, she says she gets Mike Starr's attention, and then he's like, okay.
Oh, he's not threatened by him.
He shouldn't be, because apparently he's an amazing assassin, a very big professional in the field, whatever. And so...
And again, when it gets to the end, and we find out what's going on with this guy, he could have fucking done his job right there.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
He could have done his job, left out the window. No big whoop.
Yeah.
I guess maybe he wanted to get his dick wet first.
Why did he let her get up then? Like, why didn't he? Whatever. Anyway, so we go from there.
Well, basically, from what happens there is that Whitney Houston's character takes Costner's friend like into the room to potentially fuck him. And Costner gets mad, and he goes down to like check the path again. And there's apparently some boxes where they weren't supposed to be boxes, so he kicks them and gets all mad and wastes a lot of lettuce. And then he just like randomly kicks some guy's ass because he spoke back to him, just like losing his shit. And I was like, okay, so Costner's a badass. I get it, but you know what? As much as he talks about discipline, it doesn't really have much. Got a bad temper there, Costner.
Once again, horrible fucking bodyguard.
Yeah.
And then it cut. So during all this, like, Whitney Houston's about ready for him to leave until she gets a call that is the funniest threatening call ever. It's like, "Mommy," and she's like, "Fletcher." It's like, no.
Which again, I don't even know. It's so weird. I guess it's another red herring, but they have this side plot of like this serial killer-esque guy that's like sending her notes and apparently making phone calls now, and he's a very creepy guy.
Well, that's who's it setting up to be the attempted murderer. That's why they think there's going to be an attempted murder.
Yeah. Which, by the way, he does pop up a couple times in the movie. Like he's actually there at that club scene. I don't know if you saw him briefly in there.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. And he looks like he's really wearing a really bad feathered wig. Like he has the strangest blonde hair that looks way too feminine for a man. Maybe that was part of his persona.
Yeah, it's weird. He looks like it's a very odd looking guy, but he looks like a weird mix between Peter McNichol, Alan Tudyk, and William Atherton.
I could see it. Not bad.
He's got the hair of William Atherton and Biodome. He's got kind of the face of Alan Tudyk, and he's got the creepy expressions of Peter McNichol in Ghostbusters 2.
I could see it.
You're welcome.
I like it. Not bad. And after this, we get where Kevin Costner was about to quit, but he decides to go back, and there is no one showed up for this scene. Like, Whitney Houston's like, Frank, I need you, and I'm afraid. Kevin Costner says, I can't protect you like this. It's impossible. The odds are all on his side. And I'm putting about as much effort into it as they are.
Oh, no, I actually think you're kind of improving on their delivery a little bit.
I think so. Like, for what should be an intensely emotional scene.
This was obviously shot in the last hour of the night. Everyone's tired, ready to go home. They're like, let's just get this shot, guys. We'll move on. We can go have our big snowy cabin retreat.
Yeah, come on, guys. Just one more thing, then you can go to sleep. Whitney, you can go back to your drugs, whatever. Oh, I made myself sad.
You made the world sad.
Then we go to the inexplicable Lifetime movie scene where we meet Costner's father. We meet his dog.
It really is. Yeah, we meet his dog. He likes little dogs, apparently. His dad tells embarrassing stories about him, which it seems like Costner gets really mad, like he's about to punch his dad in the face.
Yeah, and and then, like, all of a sudden, Costner and Whitney Houston are all right again. Whitney Houston's like, well, I'm gonna go to bed, guys, and Costner, like, just inexplicably is like, let me walk you up to your room. Yeah,
he just follows her up to her room.
Yeah, just opens the door for her, and that's that. And it's supposed to build some more emotional resonance. We also see Costner showing the son how to work a motorboat, and it's so just so we can get the line, oh, he can't swim very well, then hopefully he stays in the boat then. Yeah. And then the next day, it's so awesome. For some reason, the kid decides he's gonna go out on the boat by himself, and he starts motoring around. Costner sprints out onto the dock, dives, and just tackles the kid from the boat into the water.
I honestly think that is just Costner's reaction to everything. That's the same exact reaction he had when the car was following them. He just starts running and then tries to jump on top of it, but he just missed. He happened to hit the kid. Just anytime anything like an action scene happens, he's like, oh, I gotta run and tackle shit.
Yeah,
because he was a football player.
Yeah. Oh man, and we forgot about the football photo that's supposed to be Kevin Costner in high school. That is just Kevin Costner now, except kind of tousled hair and a vaguely shadowy face. It's so obviously Kevin Costner, like 40-year-old Kevin Costner.
Oh yeah, it's kind of awesome. It's kind of hilarious. But yeah, this movie gets fucking boring in the middle. Like this snowy cabin scene, just
it's
awkward
bad.
family moments.
Until Fletcher gets tackled, then the rest of it is, I found it pretty awesome.
Well, no, because that is funny, because they're just like, and Whitney Houston's mad at him again. It's like, why'd you do that? You know he can't swim. And he's like, I'm sorry. And then the boat fucking blows up like 20 feet away from the dock.
Like, what? Because why? If the guy's trying to kill Whitney Houston, why? She hasn't even been on the boat if he's been watching. Why does he have any conjecture that she's gonna go on the boat this time in the middle of fucking winter in a mountain? Stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
But that's how we know the threat's real. That's how we know the guy's there at the cabin.
And then we go to the sister being drunk and hitting on Costner, him not having any of it. Then we go to her being even drunker later that night, or the next night, I can't remember, and her crying and tearily admitting out of the blue that she got high and hired an assassin for her sister.
Yeah. Which again, she did not think that through, because there goes her fucking meal ticket. I mean, honestly, she's her sister, so she's probably gonna get left most of her belongings and stuff. But the way she spends money, it seems like she probably doesn't have that much. She probably needs to keep that money rolling in. That's not gonna last very long. You're not gonna keep living in a mansion.
Yeah. Also, she doesn't know how she hired the guy. She paid in full up front.
She hired him through another guy, which seriously, just like, it sounds like she went to some seedy bar. Some guy's like, oh yeah, I can get someone to kill for you. That'll be $50,000. And then she's like, okay, and so she gives him $50,000. Like, yeah, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I imagine that going down.
So why is this guy even trying to kill one of the most famous women in the world?
Yeah, they got their money
put
already.
Yourself at that risk?
They paid in full. I mean, like they could have just taken the money and not done the job.
I guess honor among thieves. I guess that's what they're trying to do. And then there's this whole like scene where the killer comes in, luckily right after Kevin Costner gets all this information, or else he would have never known. And the killer shoots the sister, mistaking her for Whitney Houston.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
That's what I figured happened.
Well, I wouldn't think so because he knows exactly what Whitney Houston looks like. It's not that dark in there.
It was pretty dark. I mean,
fair enough. Maybe he does, but he absolutely knows his job isn't done.
But yeah, so this all
But
happens.
I basically think that happens so that can happen and Kevin Costner can keep that secret and it doesn't have to come out that she hired the assassin, so that Whitney Houston doesn't have to know that about her own sister.
That works. And then we have the weirdest chase scene in the snow where it's run, stop, shoot, run, stop. Like, that's essentially the scene.
Pretty much, it's like they run, and I guess, like, they're aware of each other's movements because they can hear them, so one will stop and listen to see where he's coming from, and then the other one will stop. But then Costner just stops, gets on his knees, and waits to listen to the sound with his eyes closed, and then shoots at where the sound is coming from.
He doesn't get that close either. He's shooting way high.
Well, yeah, because he's just shooting where the sound is coming from. That's just a general area. That's why he keeps missing every time he does it.
Once again, like, this weird Dalton moment that doesn't pay off in the least. Like, I wish he had just ripped the guy's throat out at the end of this. Like, that would have been the best end to the snow chase scene. But the guy gets away. We see the sister's funeral by way of a limo with a sticker in the window that says funeral, which I thought was hilarious also. Like, who does that? Like, do people really put funeral stickers in the window when there's a funeral? And Costner has
by the way, during this time, Costner's guys in the SS or whatever, they find the actual stalker guy that had been sending the notes. But the hitman is still out there. But that's the guy that was on the phone like, no, because they have a scene where they ask him a question, and he's just like, no.
So I love that guy. And then after the whole funeral scene, Costner has a Daltonism, which is everybody's scared of something. That's how we know we care about things. We're afraid we'll lose it. Like, just bravo, Costner. Just amazing insight into the human psyche there. Anyway.
Can we get to the Academy Awards?
Yeah. So they're talking about going to the Oscars, which she's nominated for, and he says, I don't know, it's dangerous. One of the most highly televised events in America is dangerous? How?
Well,
What's
I mean, that does end up being where he wants to make the move and kill her. But which of course is ridiculous, but...
It's absolutely ridiculous. Like,
okay,
what?
But I find it funny that they make this big deal about her star and all the star power in this movie, and they have an Academy Award scene, yet the biggest celebrities they could get was one of the old MTV reporters, I forget his name, and Robert Wool. Those are the only people that, even when they show other celebrities and stuff like that, they're not real celebrities. They're just probably people that worked on the film. The biggest celebrities they have is an MTV reporter and Robert Wool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
They didn't have much in the way of budget for the Academy Awards.
Worst Oscars ever.
Yeah.
And they're... It's just so ridiculous. There's like armed guards there, except they have shotguns and they're staged really high. So it's like, are you just gonna start firing like ball bearings into the crowd below? Is that your plan if shit goes awry?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I guess so. And then there's I just have this line. I can't remember what it's about, but they have a line about a Hollywood cricket team. I didn't get that.
I didn't even catch that.
Someone was like, oh, you're going to play in the Hollywood cricket team? Like, they're talking to a British guy, and they start laughing, and I'm guessing it was supposed to be a joke, but...
I was like,
anyway.
British people play cricket. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. You got to understand crumpet to play cricket.
Chimney sweeps.
That's
what I imagine people in Hollywood say about British people.
That's just how I imagine people are in Britain. Is that not how they are in real life?
I imagine is Britain a real place? I thought it was just a Hollywood contrivance. Anyway,
mind blown.
Yeah, just rest on that one for a little while. So Kevin Costner's old partner is also at the Oscars. He's like, "Oh, I'm protecting the guy,
Robert Wool."
The Robert Wool, yeah. And
which again, come on, who's gonna try to kill Robert Wool?
He's not very funny. I don't. That
he is the poor man's Albert Brooks.
He really is. And so his partner shows up. He's like, "Oh, I'm protecting this guy." And it's like, "Oh, I bet his partner's the assassin." And
it's obvious.
It's him. So after this, Kevin Costner sizes the situation up, and he has a line, "I think he's gonna do it in front of all the cameras. That's crazy. That's how he wants it to look. But he is very, very clever." No, that is crazy. There is nothing clever about trying to assassinate someone at the biggest, most televised event of the year.
I will say the way he is trying is actually kind of clever because he has a camera gun.
He does have a camera gun. Oh my god, it's amazing.
He's holding a VHS video camera, a huge VHS video camera, and built into I guess his eyepiece, the scope. He has a gun that he's kind of holding. So he's
he also has a laser sight on. Yeah.
Yeah, it is so ridiculous.
Oh, and I love that. So he goes up to Martin Starr and. The way he gets past Mike Starr. Sorry.
Martin Starr is from Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, I remember now. But he goes up to Mike Starr, and the way he gets past him is eye poke followed by karate chop. Fucking hilarious.
It's almost like a Three Stooges routine.
It really is. And
which again, Mike Starr would have made an awesome Curly in a Three Stooges movie. I think he could have done it.
Yeah. Oh, he could have. Yeah, definitely. And so this is where we see Kevin Costner run out and take the bullet for,
which we all knew was gonna happen. It's obvious from the beginning because he even talks about it. He's like, sometimes I'm just there to take a bullet.
Yep. Yeah. So definitely telegraphed. So this happens. He's not quite down. He notices his partner from afar. He shoots at him. The guy
it goes through his eyepiece and shoots him through the eye.
Well, no, it explodes the camera. Because you see half his face kind of come off at one point. You're like, holy shit! It was out of nowhere.
Costner don't play.
Costner does not play. But yeah, I love the exploding camera.
Contraptions are for nerds.
Contraptions are for nerds.
But anyway, what the fuck is this ending all about? Okay, so when they're taking him out on the stretcher, the stalker guy shows up, and he looks really sad that Kevin Costner got shot.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just shows up, and he's just in the crowd, so apparently they released him at some point, and he got to the Academy Awards, and he's just standing in the crowd looking sad that Kevin Costner got shot. They were best friends, and he looked up to him.
Yeah, it's really strange. Then we go to the scene that kind of plays it like Casablanca,
kind of, but how the fuck did Costner not die? I thought he was gonna die at the end of this. I thought he was gonna sacrifice himself to save Whitney Houston, and she'll always love him, but she'll find another guy in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, so she goes.
That's why I thought the song was all about. I thought I will always love you because you're dead and gone.
Yeah, you would think that is what the song's about. I'm pretty sure, or just it's about a guy releasing his the bird. You gotta let it be free, man. That kind of thing. And
yeah, basically, as this ending scene was happening, it's just like Casablanca. He's coming. His arms in a sling. That's all that happened to him.
Yeah, that's the worst.
They show that they're about to leave on a plane. He set her up with a new bodyguard, who's an older guy, so she won't fuck him.
Because there's some weird sexual politics going on here too.
But so they basically just part ways, and they're friends, and they care about each other. And I was just like, oh, okay, so the movie ends with a resounding but the movie decides to even subvert that back to the original cheesy, corny, everyone should have expected it but didn't expect it and now should expect it again ending that is more lame than them just parting ways amicably.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will say it kind of leaves it up in the air, maybe they still go on. They just got a last makeout session with a swirling camera because romance.
While I Will Always Love You plays.
Yeah, While I Will Always Love You plays.
It's no, I think it means that they get back together.
Who knows? And then she plays through the song a little bit, and then the most baffling scene is Kevin Costner is apparently he's the bodyguard for I guess a Catholic priest or something, and they're going through. I walk through the valley.
It's supposed to be a certain dinner, but I think maybe he's again protecting political figures again. He goes back to working for the Secret Service.
Yeah. That makes sense. And he starts talking even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. And it closes up. It starts zooming in on Costner So it makes Costner a Jesus figure in the end, even though he didn't die?
But here's the thing, it's so weird because it cuts from them making out in front of the plane scene, swirling camera, I Will Always Love You plane, to her singing I Will Always Love You, like, oh, she decided to cover the song because she loves him. But then it cuts to that dinner scene, I was like, wait, was she singing for priests? Like, what was going on? I guess that was just a separate scene of her singing. It shows that.
I think it was, yeah.
But I don't think she was at that dinner, obviously.
No.
But yeah, so I guess maybe it is a little bit open-ended because you don't know what's going to happen. But honestly, like, it's so much more lame that way. If they would have actually done a Casablanca ending and just like, you know, we had a thing, but it's better that she goes off and does her own thing and that I'm not involved so I can do my job. Like, that would have been cool. But no, they had to do that. But then I guess maybe they don't get back together? Who knows?
Yeah, it could have had some emotional resonance and they decided to kill it and then go with a makeout followed by weird Jesus analogy.
Yeah, because it's this weird kind of like panning close-up of Kevin Costner and then it just fucking cuts out and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, and I will say, we skipped over this, we talked about it earlier. The reason Kevin Costner quit the Secret Service is because his mother died and he had to go to the funeral, and that was the day Reagan got shot.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's the big reveal of Kevin Costner's oh-so-mysterious character.
Yeah, so again, it really wasn't his fault whatsoever, but he blames himself because if he would have been there, then it obviously wouldn't have happened because he's the best, because he's a fucking egomaniac just as much as Whitney Houston, and they fucking deserve each other.
You're right.
I'm sorry. Whitney Houston, huge egomaniac, got killed by drugs. Yeah. Kevin Costner, huge egomaniac, made Waterworld. And then The Postman, and then took about a decade before he started to have a comeback.
Yeah, he's in the middle of his comeback right now, so I don't know. I hear he's doing all right.
He played Superman's dad, and then he got an action movie that nobody cared about. And he wasn't he in a Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit or something?
Oh, I don't know. I was gonna say he was in the latest Ivan Reitman, which was Labor Day. No, not Labor Day. That's Jason Reitman. Whichever, the one about like football.
Oh yeah, Draft Day. So another movie nobody gives a shit about. Yeah, so he's out there again. I don't know how much of a comeback he's making, but yeah, you know, good for him. I guess after those two big bombs, he had to take a while and reassess himself and be like, oh, maybe I'm not the big shit that I think I am.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say, Kevin Costner is an unoffending actor to a certain degree.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's the main reason I don't like him so much. He's so fucking bland. I just can't get behind him, and he's just Kevin Costner. No.
Yeah, you just kind of throw him in, and that's why it's weird in this movie he's trying to act so badass, and it's not playing that way like that. And I think that's really where I like the movie a lot. Besides everyone acting really strange, like motivations all over the place, then we have Kevin Costner. It's kind of like when we watched The Legend of Chun-Li, and oh fuck, who was that?
Chris Klein.
Chris Klein trying to act like a badass is the funniest thing I have ever seen. And Costner didn't quite go that full 9, but he got close.
We should totally watch that movie for the podcast eventually.
So next week, join us for Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li.
I hope so. I hope you're not joshing me.
So join us next week when we return with Street Fighter: Legend of Chun-Li. We will replace the underwhelming Kevin Costner with the bafflingly amazing performance of Chris Klein in the role he was never born to play. We'll see you here next week at Crush Celluloid.